afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, where we saw strong gains in the market, and we have more stocks on the move on their earnings reports, including two medical names you've had your eye on, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. Could take a look at Merck and Eli Lilly, both of which reported strong earnings. And since it was such a strong day for the NASDAQ, fueled by a lot of earnings in the technology sector, figure we take a look at Meta Platforms and see why it was such a huge percentage gainer today. They also reported earnings.
All right, we'll do that. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. So the NASDAQ today up almost 3.1%, just shy of that mark, but some big strength there, as you mentioned, from tech today, Ken. The S&P 500 up about 2.5%, the Dow up 1.9%, the Russell 2000 up 1.7%. So definitely encouraging to see after the weakness that we've had. So maybe this is a step in the right direction, but we're in earnings season, so there are more key reports coming out that could have an impact on the market's direction.
Yeah, seeing Amazon right now, they just reported that stock is down about 8, 9, 10%, something like that. So pretty rough reaction to Amazon's earnings. But yeah, today was a great day for the NASDAQ. You had, Meta Platforms, otherwise known as Facebook. You had Qualcomm. You had PayPal. All these beaten down tech stocks that have just suffered relentless selling. They finally rallied on pretty good earnings reports. So, but in the end, this is just the first day of a rally attempt for the NASDAQ. But they probably had the feel of some short covering today, maybe some people that were short some of these large cap tech companies that reported earnings today. So first day of a rally attempt for the NASDAQ. Still feel like the market needs to prove itself more before we go back into a confirmed uptrend.
Exactly, and I mean, we couldn't have predicted the gain of 3% for the Nasdaq that we saw today, just when it looked like it was really going to undercut those March lows in a big way and potentially break lower. And who knows, that could still happen. But the point is, you have to stay on your toes because this market can be unpredictable. So just mapping out one scenario in your head isn't enough. It's important to stay engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just increased exposure a little bit today with our leaderboard model portfolio, but didn't do anything too aggressive. Just wanted to take advantage of a stock that was working today. But yeah, we got to be patient here and wait and see. The problem, the issue I'm seeing is that even if we do get a sign of strength in the major indexes sometime next week, or we're still kind of below all of these moving averages, and it just makes it difficult, for an index to make headway. So you can get good follow through days when you're below key moving averages, but the 10-day, the 21-day line, the 50-day moving average, they could be resistance levels. But I think tomorrow will be important. Obviously, Nasdaq 100 futures are down so far based on Amazon's earnings, but we'll see how things shake out.
That's right. Down about 1.2, 1.3% right now. But as always, after hours or pre-market action doesn't always translate to the following session. So something we're definitely keeping track of here. And as you mentioned, it was day one of the rally attempt for the NASDAQ and day two for the S&P 500, Ken.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a rally attempt for the S&P 500 yesterday. We had that selling that came into the market late, and but S&P 500 managed to eke out a small gain on Wednesday and a nice percentage gain today. We looked like we had higher volume on the NASDAQ by a little bit. Volume on the NYSE today, a little too close to call. Looks like it's going to be pretty close, maybe just a little bit higher than what we saw Wednesday. So day two of a rally attempt for the S&P 500, and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Okay, and a quick look at the Dow as well, Ken. So blue chip stocks. Any thoughts on this chart?
Well, it's it's day two of a rally attempt for the Dow, right along with the S&P 500. So we have a key Dow component coming out at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Apple will be out with results, and that will likely be a market mover as well.
Okay. And now let's take a look at Facebook Meta platforms. It'll take a little getting used to, but up about 18% today and some strong volume. So that's great for the market, but that doesn't necessarily mean we should be touching this stock here.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of similar to some of the stocks that we talked about yesterday when they reported earnings. You know, these stocks were in the headlines today, especially Meta Platforms with its huge percentage gain. But you can see this 50-day moving average, which the red line, which has been trending lower forever just because of terrible price performance from Meta Platforms. Well, it bumped up right against these moving averages again today, the 10-week moving average on the weekly chart. So that still looks like it could be a resistance level to watch. Even Facebook's strong move today was not enough to break it out of its downtrend. So really the lesson with some of these large cap tech stocks, and Qualcomm is a good example, PayPal, all of these large cap techs have been just so hit hard by selling in recent months. It's going to take a very long time for these stocks to prepare. So if you're thinking about buying Facebook right now because of a nice turnaround quarter, and certainly a lot better than the results that they reported in January, you just got to be cognizant of the fact that there's, first of all, going to be a lot of overhead supply. If this stock is going to continue to work higher, and if it can break out of its downtrend to move above its 50-day moving average, you can see all that selling when the stock initially fell below the 10-week moving average. People were buying this on the way down and are sitting on a big loss. So some of the buying today might have been people just selling to break even on their investment. If the stock keeps rallying, it's going to face selling pressure on the way back up from people who bought on the way down. So that's kind of the concept of overhead supply. It's hard making money when a stock falls this far off its high, because as it moves higher, it always faces selling pressure from those who bought in at higher prices.
Right. Yeah, and trying to call an absolute bottom in a stock after it's been in a severe downtrend is a very risky game.
Yeah.
All right. And next, let's take a look at some of those medical sector names on your list, Ken. So first, Merck, MRK. This was added to Swing Trader this morning, up about 5% by the end of the day, and some above average volume, and some nice numbers here for the drug maker.
Yeah, definitely. They had about 20% of their revenue was from this new COVID pill, the oral COVID pill that was approved in December. So nice earnings and revenue beat. And this one gave a buy signal today. You can see it's still below this handle buy point, but it did break out over some recent highs today. So it'll be important. This could be an example of a stock that initially makes a move, and it could follow through and break out with conviction tomorrow. It just depends on what the major stock indexes are going to look like in the morning in light of more earnings after the close today.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and also let's take a look at Eli Lilly, LLY, with some action here today on leaderboard. Yes.
Yes, we decided to put this back on leaderboard because of a strong earnings report and good bottom line and top line growth. And the story here is that they have this, an obesity drug that is showing great promise. It's doing so well in late stage trials that Eli Lilly might try to get expedited approval from the FDA. That remains to be seen, but very positive trial data for an obesity drug, and obviously Keytruda, which is their diabetes treatment, I believe. I think I have that right, but big seller in the quarter, and it's one of their flagship drugs. So the numbers very good at Lilly, and we go to the weekly chart and see a nice test of the 10-week moving average here, and one of the better looking charts in the market right now.
Exactly, and I think to contrast the weekly chart here of Lilly to Merck is something that shows sort of the thinking of going with one for swing trader, looking at the short term, but Lilly for leaderboard that has the stronger relative strength over the long run. So looking at these trends on the weekly chart can help you kind of figure out what suits your trading style. Something that might have a weaker, longer term RS line on the weekly chart, perhaps going for a short quick gain like a swing trader would, is something to consider here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we put Lilly on a leaderboard today because we think that this has the potential to be a nice gainer from here. So it has a proven track record of outperformance, and who knows? The guys on Swing Trader who added Merck today, they may sit with this one for a little while. I know that it did well, and they trimmed the position a little bit, but sometimes they can hold on to these stocks for a little while.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ken. But before we go, let's talk about some of the key earnings reports out late. A fun time of year to be able to add in a little extra quick takes from my co-hosts here during earnings season. So Amazon down about 9% after its earnings report. It was weak sales guidance weighing on the results here, and then Intel as well with earnings out after the close. So this one down about 4.7% here. I believe it was the guidance as well for, so guiding lower on Q2 here for Intel. So two sort of bellwether companies down after their reports. As you mentioned, Ken, we have yet to hear from Apple. We will get those numbers in about 12 minutes or so from now. So we'll have to see how some of these reactions shake out and translate not only to the action tomorrow, but into next week as well, perhaps.
Yeah, conditions still could be a little challenging here, especially we're seeing this Amazon sell-off late. So that's obviously weighing on NASDAQ 100 futures right now. And hopefully the results from Apple coming up in about 10 minutes will offset these bad results from Amazon. But, Apple's facing a lot of challenges with, shutdowns in China. Obviously, they have big business there. And so I'm sure they'll be talking about the slowdown and the COVID shutdowns there and how that's impacting business. But could see good numbers from Apple. Wouldn't be surprised.
All right. Well, thank you, Ken, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. We will be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live, so we hope you all join us. We'll have special guest Ryan Pierpont. He has two back-to-back top 3 finishes in the U.S. Investing Championship, so looking forward to hearing more about his swing trading strategies tomorrow morning on the show. More details on that at investors.com/IBD Live. We'll see you there, everyone, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow after the close.